Hi there. Welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money or both sometimes watching a particular film. So if you are brand new to my channel, yay! And if you are a returning subscriber, yay! I really appreciate all of your support. So today, the movie I'm reviewing is called The Taste of Things. This sumptuous movie is now playing in theaters, at least in the United States right now. The movie is rated PG-13. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes long. I'll talk about that here in just a minute. But my overall movie review mom grade is an A minus. I thought it was beautiful. So let me give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also really love. So in a nutshell, the story is about Eugenie, an esteemed French cook, the woman, and Dodin, the gourmet, whom she has been working for and sleeping with for over the past 20 years. He proposes to her multiple times, but she protests, saying they're happier together than most married couples. Already, the film has been nominated for 26 various awards at film festivals and won 7 of them in quite a few categories. This very artsy film was directed by Ah Hung Tran, who adapted it from the novel called The Passionate Epicure by Marcel Ruff. So let me give you first some tips for parents. First, I think kids are going to be extremely bored, especially because the movie is in French and they'll have to read subtitles. Now, I also think some adults are going to be bored. This is a foodie movie. I'll give you some more tips, but just as a heads up, this won't be everybody's cup of French tea. We do see the naked backside of a woman bathing. There's a lot of alcohol, some smoking, talk of intimate relations outside of marriage. Some of the themes are the magic and power of food, love and loss, grief and mourning, artistry, living each day as if it were your last, commitment, and mentorship. So there were a lot of things I loved about this movie. First of all, you will get hungry while watching this movie. French chef Pierre Gagné worked as the culinary director of the film on set and also appeared as one of the chefs in one of the scenes or a few scenes. The first 20 minutes of the movie show several cooks in the kitchen preparing an elegant meal almost entirely in silence. We learn of the rhythm between these people and how fully engaged they are in their art. We feel the love of their art that is mixed into all of the ingredients of the dishes. We follow the camera around as it weaves in and out of these people as they're moving about in this very large kitchen. And it's just fascinating. However, if that sounds like complete boredom to you, then this movie is definitely not for you. French cooking is so amazing. I used to teach classes at Le Cordon Bleu, which is a culinary college, and I have the weight gain to prove it. I ate some amazing food and delicious and beautiful food there. Here in the United States, we used to have 16 campuses. Of course, the one in France, Paris, France, is the most famous. But sadly, all 16 United States campuses closed, which was super sad. Our campus alone spent $50,000 every year just on butter. Needless to say, it was a very expensive school to run. French cooking. I've been learning French on Duolingo for a year, so it was really fun to see how much of it I could understand while reading the English subtitles to check my skill level. Well, obviously, I have a long way to go before I can watch a movie like this without captions. It's always really nice to see the lovely Academy Award winner, Juliette Binoche. She and the other lead actor, Benoit Magimel, were together from 1998 to 2003 in real life and they have a daughter together in real life. So it was really cool to see them. They must have ended on amicable terms because you can still see that love and friendship between them. And I thought that was really cool. The film was shot at the beautiful Chateau de Ragin. Okay, so my French is not that great. I don't know how to pronounce this place. But anyway, it's in France and it's beautiful. We also get to see a beautiful vegetable garden that I wish I had. There is an interesting scene where some men put napkins over their heads and they cover their heads while they ate this bird dish in France named the ortolan bunting. So, because it's also known as the sin plate, diners cover their heads with napkins to hide their sin from God. So, you might be wondering, wait a minute, what's the sin? Well, it's known as a sin because the small songbird is forced fed to make it plump and then it's drowned in Armagnac, which is a horrible way to die, I think, because the birds are now facing extinction. Eating them is now banned in the United States and in Europe. And you watch them cook these little birds and they talk about force feeding them. And you're just like, oh, that was French cooking. I mean, back in the 1700s, 1800s, wow, what gluttonous food did they prepare? We hear of an 8-hour dining experience offered by a prince. And I'm just like, wow, I can eat, but I don't think I could eat that long. That's amazing. Now, the original title of the film was La Passion de Dodin Bouffant, which means the passion of Dodin Bouffant, which was the guy's name. We see how passionate he is about food, friendship, and for the love of his life. The film truly is a sensory feast, from the mouth-watering food, the sounds of cracking twigs in the garden and bubbling food in pots, gorgeous French settings, sunlight pouring in through windows, and the talk of beloved relationships. What a truly delicious taste of things. And that's, of course, the title of this movie. As the story is set in the 1870s in France, it's really entertaining to watch the characters learn about new discoveries like baked Alaska, so exotic from America, and the power of copper rods in a garden. I thought that was actually super interesting. I loved the scenes where they dined outdoors. So lovely. I don't know that Americans do it that much like they do. Whenever I see movies like that, I'm like, I'm going to start dining outdoors more. Stunning cinematography. So when I looked at the list of things that I did like to share with you, I realized I really only had one thing, and that is that non-foodies will complain about the length of the movie and how bored they were waiting for something to happen. It's just not that kind of an action movie with a big major plot. It's experiencing that French life, the love for food, the closeness of friendships and other relationships, all of those themes that I mentioned. The movie definitely takes its time. And that 20 plus minute scene at the very beginning is repeated several times, where we're watching meals being prepared and just pretend like you could smell the movie. I wish we had smell-o-vision and could smell all of that. Anyway, be prepared to take your time and just experience it. So whenever I watch movies, I write down funny lines and interesting lines, if there are any, to share them with you so you can get a real taste. See what I did there? A real taste of the dialogue and the script writing. And I didn't write down any funny lines. Of course, what I was reading were captions, so I don't know, maybe in its original language it was more funny. There are some types of humorous moments, but I guess it's more of a drama, but it feels like real life. Anyway, I did write down quite a few interesting lines that I wanted to share with you, and you can see all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. But I'll share some of them with you right now. First of all, Jan Hamenecker is the actor who plays Majot, and he says, kind of quizzically, "Man is the only animal that drinks without thirst." I thought, that's true. And he's specifically talking about alcohol and how wine is such a huge part of these meals. I don't actually drink alcohol. I don't even like the smell of alcohol, but I recognize how it can pair well with food and complement food. I'd rather spend my money on the food, honestly, but that's just me. But anyway, and then another character, this is the Dodon Bouffant, who's the main actor played by Benoit Magimel, who was the previous husband of our leading lady. Anyway, he chimes in on the conversation and he says, wine is the intellectual side of a meal, meat and vegetables, the material side. I thought that was interesting because he spends so much love and care and attention creating the food, whereas the wine he can just buy, right? So I thought that was interesting. Um, and then I love this sweet line. He's trying to propose again to the love of his life. And he says, marriage is a dinner that begins with dessert. And I thought, well, that's sweet. And then another line that the same Dodon Bouffant speaks is, it takes culture and a good memory to shape one's taste. And he becomes this very beloved mentor of a young girl who definitely has talent. And he thinks she's just too young, but her parents insist. Well, if you don't want to use her in your kitchen, you tell her, because she keeps hounding us. And so, of course, he can't resist and he becomes her mentor, and it's really sweet. So he teaches her that line. Now, while I was watching this movie, I instantly thought of some movies that you must watch if you love this. The first one is called Delicious, and that came out in 2022. And again, it's in France. It's really mostly true story of how restaurants came to be in France, which I thought was really cool to learn about that. So definitely watch that. And then a more modern movie. Well, I mean, that was a new movie, but it's the time is back in the, forget, the 1700s, 1600s, I forget. Anyway, then a more modern movie is The 100-Foot Journey, starring the fantastic, legendary Helen Mirren. I just adore her, and she was exquisite in this film. And it is about food and those prestigious 1, 2, 3-star Michelin awards that everyone around the world wants and how to get them. And it was just so fascinating, and a little competition between her French classic traditional restaurant and an Indian restaurant that gets opened up right across the street, 100 feet to be exact. And then another one is another modern take on food journey called Chef. And I was actually teaching at Le Cordon Bleu when that movie came out. I think it was Chef, and then Burnt also came out. But I really liked Chef more. It just showed that passion for food, and it's about food trucks and how food trucks have overtaken the culinary scene. It used to be, we used to call them roach coaches back when I was a little girl, and they would show up at a work site and sell greasy, yucky food, for the workers who couldn't get away. And now they are gourmet and not cheap at all. Anyway, definitely watch that one if you, it's like food porn. The cheese just stretches and you can feel the heat and you're just salivating for the food in all three of these movies, to be honest. All right, that is it. Now I'm going to go get something to eat. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.